Over the last 7 years, Doctor Who has had a slight problem when it comes to the Daleks. I, among many other fans, think they're starting to overuse the old pepper pots. Wait. Hang on. Wow, that was embarrassing. Remind me to make a title sequence for the Doctor Who reviews. While it did have a shaky start, Series 34 of Doctor Who surprised me by being one of my favorite seasons of the sci-fi show yet. And while part of that might have been my incredibly low expectations thanks to Series 7 Part 2, that doesn't change the fact that Clara was actually given a character. Flatline and Mummy on the Orient Express are the scariest Who episodes in years. Dark Water and Death in Heaven would have been perfect if Missy had used some other tech that wasn't the Cybermen, and Capaldi was flawless. Despite its few issues, Kill the Moon, the way the Doctor reacted to Soldiers and Danny, which made the season ender suffer, and turning the Cybermen to the Master's goons, I felt that this was certainly a step in the right direction. For Series 35, I have been cautiously accepting the hype and avoiding all spoilers. And I actually wasn't disappointed. Not even a little. This episode, The Magician's Apprentice, was a return to form for Moffat. It opens in a wasteland in the middle of a bleak and desperate war. We saw a mismatch of modern and outdated weapons. In the classic series story, Genesis of the Daleks, the Fourth Doctor was sent back in time to prevent the creation of his enemies, the Daleks. When dropped on the planet Skaro during a war that would create the Daleks, the Doctor and his companions found a plethora of mismatched weapons with different levels of technology. This led the Doctor to realize that this war had been waging for so long that they were running out of resources and falling back on old technologies. Harry, one of the companions, wittily commented that before long they'd be fighting with bows and arrows. After I finished shaking, I was able to focus on the child that was trapped in the wasteland. And after a pretty chilling sequence with hand mines, the Doctor appears and offers to help him escape. Though how and why he got there, I'm not quite sure. After the Doctor tries to encourage the boy to try and escape, he learns that the boy's name is Davros. Wait, hang on.
Just touch these two strands together, and Bobby Davros is finished. But do I have that right?
I am Bobby Davros, creator of the evilest evil creatures in the world.
But do I have the right?
While I find it hilarious that the 5 Who fans predicted this, I love the premise. In Genesis of the Daleks, the Doctor decided he did not have the right to end the Daleks prematurely. But this was before the Time War, Bad Wolf journeys, and many, many other stories. Also, Capaldi's going through that am I a good man shtick, so we don't know if he might actually kill Davros. I mean, we know he won't. Doctor Who Without the Daleks is like a PBS Idea Channel video without GIFs all over the place. Also, he's holding a Dalek gun to kill Davros, but if he destroyed Davros, then the Dalek gun wouldn't be there, and it would just create paradox. Moving on, the Doctor is faced with the ultimate decision. Will he destroy a child to save millions? First, let's go over my issues with the story. No, why? This is Doctor Who, not Looney Tunes. Ugh. I also felt that the tank sequence, awesome as it was, went on a bit too long, and it felt a bit repetitive for them to go with the whole Death of the Doctor opening. Again. But other than that, I loved it. This is the Moff's best script in a while. In the opening, we had many different things going on all at once, but it was making sense, and we had all these cameos, but they didn't feel under or overused, and it wasn't rushed. It brought me back to Series 31 and the first half of Series 32, with the Big Bang and Impossible Astronaut, which is a good thing. And while the snake thing basically just went around saying, "Where is the Doctor?" He isn't here. Okay, bye. I loved the way that he moved, and was genuinely surprised with his reveal. It was nice to see the Jejune again, and I loved how they were filmed this time around. They have never seemed so cool or had as much of a presence on screen before, and that's saying something because they didn't even do anything in this episode. The punk rock Doctor was amazing, and Well, I'm not really into the Doctor, Master, or Missy relationship. When he started strumming Pretty Woman, I grinned. The Master, I'm going to keep calling them the Master because maybe I'll be talking about multiple incarnations and it'll just get too confusing. So yes, I'm calling her and him the Master. Was excellent in this story. She was intelligent, calculating, sharp, and bonkers. The actress had such a presence that whenever she was in the frame, your eyes were on her. Despite this, Clara also had a decent episode, despite the two torrential Time Lords taking up the screen. I liked the way that she thought through the mystery of the stopped planes, and her reactions during the tank scene were priceless. Now, for the big reveal. I loved how this was done. Now, some people are saying that the Doctor shouldn't be surprised about Skaro because of Asylum of the Daleks. But either this will be explained in part 2, or I'll just point out that this is a pristine, well-kept Skaro as opposed to that wasteland of ruins that we saw in Asylum. Which is actually kind of a good metaphor for both episodes. The way that they slowly realized where they were after realizing they were on a planet, it was just perfect. Plus the buildup of the Dalek theme, oh. Now it's time to talk about the Daleks! They were very well portrayed in this one. The first one we saw was a 1963 variant, although the CG in that shot wasn't what I'd exactly call impressive. And then we saw the rest of the Daleks. While Asylum promised us classic Daleks, they were all cameos and never did anything. This time, we saw the special weapons Daleks speak for the first time, and while we all know it will be done next week, it was really nice to see Daleks kill main characters for once. It's something they should do more often, being, you know, the most feared race in the universe whose one urge is to kill. Speaking of which, the scene between the Doctor and Davros was the highlight. When Missy was talking about an alliance and we saw all the Daleks talk to the boss Dalek, like, she's got a point, and then all of a sudden, nope, exterminate, to the moment when Davros was talking about how they wanted her to run, and the first time in forever, there was actually some tension in a scene with a Dalek. It was amazing. Now, I could talk about Davros, but I've already gone on a bit long, and I'd rather discuss that after seeing part 2 and made a full conclusion. All in all, I give this episode a 7 out of 10. By the way, here's my chart on how I do the rating so that you understand what I mean. It was a great story with some brilliant setup, and while there were a few moments that made me cringe, it felt like a fresh start to the new series. And I am so excited for tomorrow's episode. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please, tell me what you thought of the story in the comments below. I'd love to hear. By the way, Elizabeth, hi, it's Joseph. This isn't a Doctor Who review channel, but you wouldn't expect it based on what I'm going to be doing through the next few months. For the next 12 weeks, I'm going to be reviewing every single Doctor Who episode on Friday, and I'm going to be doing a normal The Author and the Aliens video every other week to make sure my workload doesn't explode. Ugh. I seriously need to start bringing my tripod.